Good morning, everyone. My name is Dominic Liechti, and I'm part of the worldwide education team and based in Cupertino, Silicon Valley. And we talk about the future of learning and how we connect the dots between where the world is moving, but also the possibility of learnings. But for me, it's really important that, and for us, it's really important that we start to talk first about design of learning and its implication before we're heading and jumping into these exciting emerging technologies. But I brought with me a fundamental question first, which will guide us this morning. How do we empower every learner and prepare them for tomorrow? And I would like to start to talk first about Apple, how we see that. Our vision is to create amazing products that enrich people's lives. And we have been doing that over many years. And as you can see, these products represent our vision. Think about what it did impact you, what resonates with you here. For me, it was clearly, in 2008, the App Store. We pride ourselves to be at the intersection of technology and liberal arts. This helps us to develop the connective tissue between technology and its purpose. It gives all learners the tools to create, to problem solve, but also to express themselves in fun, enriching, and powerful ways. For 40 years, we have worked alongside educators around the world. And we have never stopped doing that. And we know, based on that experience, that powerful technology in the hands of all learners are unlocking the unique genius in every learner so they can make actually a difference in their world. But the question is, how does the world look like? Technology had a monumental shift how we live today. As we all know, it's a part of our daily life. It helps us to keep track of our day. We can monitor our health even now on our watches. But also we can connect with colleagues, friends, and communities. But it also has shifted how the world works. And when we have a deeper look into the workplace, we see an evolution. It has started in the industrial age, where technology was machinery, and it was all about productivity. And we were focusing to increase the workforce and their participation. Coming to the information age, where we focused on technology-drove businesses with mass quantities of information, and people got sidelined along the way because we were in service of this data. So we had to adapt to technology. And now we see another shift happening. As we heard beforehand as well, we see it as people age. The humans are at the center of this. And we connect with information and create meaning out of this information. So technology is in service of what we're doing and not the other way around. And you're all familiar with these advances in technologies. Being mobile, using augmented reality, gives us different learning contexts that we can connect to different worlds and make different meaning out of our experiences. Leveraging artificial intelligence, where we're leveraging neural networks to predict different learning pathways. But we all know we have to make sure that it's all extremely secure, but also protects our human right, our privacy. The change of these technologies had also an impact, as you know, on the optimization. And we shouldn't be afraid of this optimization. Clearly, it eliminates the non-cognitive task, mundane and repetitive task, and we can focus on the skills that only people have. And we couldn't agree more with the World Economic Forum, who focuses on creativity, critical thinking and analysis, leadership and social influence, emotional intelligence, active learning, but also programming, coding, and design. So we couldn't agree more that these skills are going to be increasing in demand by 2020. And these skills also shifting in the workplace our roles. And some of these roles are emerging because they are already existing, but some we're adding to it. And these roles also, as we all know, creating and also we experience a new workplace, which is more connected, increasingly personal, collaborative, and creative. Especially, we're taking ownership of our tasks, we're setting ourselves goals, we're focusing on inclusive leadership, looking at different perspectives, to be creative at the end, to create new ideas, new projects together in a team where we can trust each other and build relationship with each other. So we see that shift happening in the workplace as well, through the infuse of these new emerging technologies. So, looking at how the world is changing, the shift of a new focus on these skills, what you have heard, coming back to the fundamental question, how do we empower all learners for today and prepare them for tomorrow? We see this huge shift here, and if we do the backwards planning of where it's heading, there's something missing. And that's the reason why I said in the beginning we should focus on the design of learning. Because that's going to be the solution that we prepare our learners for the future. And this is where the future of learning with Apple kicks in. We have this unique position because we have a huge workforce worldwide, developing amazing technology. But also we have been a long time alongside the educators. We know who they are. And we inquired worldwide before we finished the design of learning with a lot of educators around the world what they think, what the new design of learning should look like in their schools. And to no surprise, it's exactly the same 4 pillars. The future of learning, the design of learning, should be connected, personal, collaborative, and creative. Let me deep dive into what I mean with these things, what we mean with these things. Connected. All learners should have equitable access to qualitative and authentic learning anytime and anywhere. They should be able to collect, to organize, and share their experiences and competencies throughout their lifelong journey. And if I deep dive into global, learning experiences are globally connected, locally driven, tapping into local cultures, communities, ideas, and expertises. Equitable means learning is democratized. Learning experiences are equitable, accessible worldwide. And lastly, validated competencies and experiences are captured and then seamlessly and securely transferred to a portfolio of learning, which will become the future resume. On the personal, we think relevant learning experiences challenge, support, and inspire all learners to be purpose-driven and an independent thinker. They work with mentors to design and assess their competencies, their content, and skills. If I go deeper into relevant, learning experience needs to be engaging and relevant so that any individual, any learner understands and believes in what they're doing, so it needs to be meaningful. But also they need to have the opportunity and choice to pursue interest and passion. They need to be active agent and not passive participant in the learning process. So they own the learning and they're setting their goals with a mentor, a facilitator together. In adaptive, we believe ongoing assessments needs to be a part throughout the learning process to really analyze where the learner is and where the learner should go. And here, I think it's really important that we also shifting what type of assessments we're actually doing. If we're talking about that the skill is going to be so important in the future, what I've mentioned beforehand, we should also assess those qualitative factors as well, instead of just focusing on content memorization. So it's really important that we're shifting that too. The third one is collaborative. All learners are active members of a broad and diverse community. And because of that, they need to be mindful. They need to develop the clarity of their own voice, their role, and empathy in the community. But also they need to articulate their ideas and build credibility. And they're doing that by valuing, building, and trusting a relationship. Earlier, I mentioned they need to own the learning. They're setting their own goals. And here, it's so important that they build a relationship. So ownership and relationship are key to success to learning. That they're able actually to do that then in teams and trust each other with different perspectives and different outcomes. The last one is creative. The creative process is essential for the learning process, igniting passion and purpose, but also inspiring curiosity to unleash the unique genius in any learner. And that needs to happen in a playful environment, in a safe environment, and not in an overcrowded environment of huge amount of content curricular. And we know that the creative process is the heart of innovation, so time and space need to allow any learner to explore, to fail in, but also to iterate and to create amazing projects. And that process needs to happen not in isolation of content and skills, but rather across disciplines, but also with a broad range and dynamic type of skills. It's really important that we are carving out time that we can be creative. So again, connected, personal, collaborative, and creative are the core principles of the future of learning, of the design of learning, to prepare our learners for the students and help them to be successful. And we at Apple, we are super committed. We committed ourselves to help this process. And we have a huge ecosystem that supports that. So you know, we have an amazing hardware products that, with an iPad, with augmented reality, gives you mobility, accessibility of these things. We have over 200,000 education apps in the App Store, but we create even more. We have our own apps which fosters the creativity and ingenuity of our learners. We're also supporting the teacher. Even myself, I know as a teacher how challenged they are in their daily lives. We have schoolwork and classroom who's supporting the management, the differentiation, etc. But also we're supporting administration and IT and deployment and in seamless and secure installation of all these products. We could have done anything, but again, we were focusing on students and teachers and developed curriculum content. We have the Everyone Can Create, which exactly follows what I talked beforehand, using different subjects, focusing on the skills development, which are so important for the future. We have even rubrics and assessments in there. We have also Everyone Can Code, who's focusing on the foundation literacy of coding, because we believe that at least every student should be exposed to basic coding, that they understand what's going on. We have more curriculum to get more advanced, to go into app development. But as you can see, we're deeply committed, and there's more to come, as you can imagine, and how we are supporting this new design of learning, what we see needs to happen. But also, I need your help to make that happen. So I have one remaining question for you today. How are you shaping that future with us? Thank you so much.